In this topic video, we're going to focus on monopolistic competition and the short-run analysis of this market structure. Monopolistic competition is a form of imperfect competition and can be found in many real-world markets. Monopolistic competition is similar to perfect competition. Indeed, some economists regard it as more realistic because of the assumptions of the model. Let's have a look at those. So, in a monopolistically competitive market, there are many producers and many consumers, and the concentration ratio is low. In other words, no one firm dominates the market. Consumers are aware that there are non-price differences between the products. So, for example, we find regular product differentiation, slight subtle differences in the quality and performance of a product. There's lots of competition, and we assume that plenty of consumer switching takes place. Because the suppliers are producing differentiated products, then producers have some control over the price they're charging. So in this market structure, they're price makers, not the price takers we see in perfect competition. But typically, the price elasticity of the demand curve is going to be higher than it would be under the case of monopoly. It's quite easy for consumers to switch between closed substitutes. We assume in this market the barriers to entry and exit are low, and this allows producers to respond to changing price and profit signals. So, as I said before, we see many examples of monopolistic competition, from a cluster of shoe repair and key makers in busy town centres. Oftentimes in a city there might be a whole host of taxi and minibus companies, and hundreds of sandwich bars and coffee stores operating sometimes independently or part of a national chain. Hairdressing salons are typically regarded as monopolistically competitive. Yes, there are some national chains, but thousands of independent hairstylists. Likewise with dry cleaning companies and laundrettes, and in most busy towns and cities there's literally a whole host, hundreds of bars and nightclubs that you could attend. So this is the market structure we associate with lots of competition, but each supplier is doing something subtly different than their competitors. So how does the short run work in perfect competition? Well, in the short run, the profits of competing in this market can be at any level. Unlike monopoly, of course, there are no barriers to entry, so that will affect the long run equilibrium, and we're going to cover that in a second topic video. But in this model here, we've drawn a fairly elastic demand curve, average revenue falling. Marginal must be twice the average revenue curve's gradient, half the curve. Firms have some price setting power because they're producing differentiated products, and they can maximize profits where marginal cost equals marginal revenue at a price of P1 selling an output of Q1. Now at this price, the cost per unit is C1, and because price is above average cost, in this situation in the short run, firms in monopolistic competition can make supernormal profits, as shown by the shaded area. Now in the long run, the price and output equilibrium is likely to be different, and the critical assumption is that there are no barriers to entry. We'll cover the long run analysis in a separate topic video.